Welcome back tuning into this morning's video. It's Monday at GasWeatherVids.com, which can mean only one thing. Yes, it's Europe Day every Monday at GasWeatherVids. We have a look at the weather for the coming week across the continent, and today is going to be no exception. Now, before I get on with that, just want to talk about the advertising of green keyword ads on my pages at GasWeatherVids.com. When you write your cursor over the green keywords, they display ads. But when you click through the words, you go to the advertising website and just support GasWeatherVids.com by doing that. And thanks very much for doing that. Also want to mention the website we're using for the video. It's weathercentral.d. You can find the link to it on my links page. So I've got a real east-west split going on across the continent just at the moment. Really cold air for the time of year is now embedded and dug in to many eastern and northeastern parts of Europe, whereas the west and the southwest is much warmer, and we're going to keep that sort of pattern going for much of the week. Eventually, I think we will find that cold air retreating away and the warmer air coming in from the west. It's going to be a slow old process, and much of the week is going to be cold in the east of Europe with a lot of hard overnight frost. So this is the current synoptic pressure chart with high pressure up over Scandinavia, and it's really on the northern and eastern side of that high pressure, but we've got the cold air digging down into western Russia and through into eastern parts of Europe. Got this deep trough of low pressure out in the Atlantic to the west of Ireland, and it's really on the western side of the high pressure between the high and the low, but we've got those southerly to southeasterly winds bringing warm air up from the south. So if we have a look at the upper air temperature, this shows up very nicely. The really cold air with the -5 ice fan has dug into northern eastern parts of Scandinavia, through Finland, down into western Russia and some northeastern countries of Europe as well. Whereas the west is very warm with temperatures up to 10 Celsius and above at 850 millibars. That's warm, sort of summery air from Spain, Portugal, up into France and getting up into Britain and Ireland also. The dew point is indicating where we've got frost and the risk of a few flakes of snow perhaps even, and it's really across northern Scandinavia down into western Russia. That's where the dew points are below freezing by day and by night. Temperatures will be falling below freezing in these areas at night, going down to quite sharp sort of frost levels in places. Now, it's dry across much of northern and northeastern Europe under that area of high pressure, but it's more unsettled out in the west, across Ireland and Britain and down through France. Got some showers, and also through Spain and Portugal we have got some showers of rain. Then through the central basin of the Mediterranean it's mainly dry, but once we come through to Italy and go eastwards, it's really wet there. Through Italy, down through the southeast of Europe, across the Adriatic, down in the southeast, really wet through the Balkans, and then through in towards Romania, Greece, Turkey. Some big thunderstorms going on down there. Excuse me. You can't see the cold air, but it's just up to the northeast in these green curves. These are temperatures staying well into single figures by day. It's pretty chilly really across many central parts of Europe, but out in the west it's much warmer through Britain, Ireland, France, down in Spain and Portugal. Temperatures are still holding up in the upper teens, if not below, to mid-20s once you get down to Spain and Portugal. Warm through the Mediterranean, of course. And then with all that heavy and torrential rain across the Adriatic and down into the southeast of Europe, temperatures very depressed, barely getting into double figures. As we go through to the middle of the week, well, the battle's still going on. The high pressure's there over Scandinavia, probably bringing slightly warmer air around the top to the north of Scandinavia, but really the east and the northeast of Europe will still be cool or cold, whereas the west, with the southerly winds and the low pressure trying to come in off the Atlantic, will always be a good deal warmer. So, yeah, it's an east-west split. The cold air is embedded into the east of Europe and down in towards some southeastern countries of Europe as well. Once we get through to the middle of the week, cold air beginning to dig in. Conversely though, it is beginning to warm up a bit over Scandinavia as the westerlies come around the top of that high pressure, but the real mild air, the warm air, is still for the west of Europe, so Britain, Ireland, France, Spain, Portugal. That's where the highest temperatures are going to be through the middle of the week, particularly of course focused around Spain and Portugal. The dew points show that for western Russia down in towards the east, and also perhaps in some central countries, Europe, again as far in as Poland, we've got the dew points hovering around the freezing mark. So again, night frost very, very probable in these eastern countries. No frost problems at all in the west with those warm dew points, and things are warming up over Scandinavia as well. It's very unsettled in the west with that low pressure trying to come in, bringing heavy rain towards Ireland and western parts of the British Isles. Also more heavy rain coming into northwestern parts of Spain and down into northern Portugal as well. Some really torrential rain and thunderstorms possible there. The bulk of the continent dry over in the middle of the week, and those heavy showers and storms on the other side of the Adriatic down in the southeast of Europe will be easing off through the middle of the week as well. There's the cold air still in the east, temperatures hovering or staying in single figures all day. Pretty chilly through many central countries, but warmth again is confined to the west, although it's trying to push in as we go through to the middle of the week. As we go through to the end of the week, that high pressure is beginning to decline away to the east now, and we're pushing more Atlantic weather systems in from the west. So now the warmer air from the Atlantic is starting to move in. The upper air temperatures are lifting up through Scandinavia, down into Germany and central parts of Europe. The coldest of the air, the upper air temperatures, is retreating away to the towards the Black Sea and starting to ease off. Conversely, though, things are starting to cool down across Ireland and Britain as the westerly winds start to bring cooler and fresher air in off the Atlantic, but still very warm through France, Spain and Portugal. The dew points show that they're still hovering around freezing in the east and the southeast. I think gradually they will be starting to lift up at the end of the week. The rain is pushing through from the west into central countries, so turning really wet through much of France, in towards Germany, through into Denmark. Some heavy rain pushing in. Sunshine and showers for the United Kingdom and for Ireland, and probably turning more showery across Spain and Portugal as well. That leaves much of Scandinavia and eastern and southeastern Europe still largely dry under that ridge of high pressure. Temperatures beginning to lift up in the east. We're getting back into double figures, still probably a little bit below average for early October, but slowly beginning to pick up. Picking up quite a bit as well through these central countries, but the warmth is still really through France and down into Spain and Portugal, cooling off a little bit for Ireland and for Britain. And then finally, looking ahead to next weekend, we start to build high pressure in from the west again into western countries. So the whole process might start to repeat itself. So as we go through to the upper air temperatures, we see that the next push of warmer air is starting to move in off the Atlantic in towards Ireland and western parts of the United Kingdom. That could eventually end up bathing much of Western Europe once again. The coolest of the air is for northern, central and eastern parts of Europe through the weekend, but nowhere near as cold as it is right now. The dew points by next weekend showing that pretty much the whole of the continent is back above freezing. It's still unsettled in many central and eastern countries, with showers or longer spells of rain, really torrential rain possible again through Italy, the Adriatic and down in towards Greece and Turkey, but that ridge of high pressure will be drying things out across Portugal, Spain, France and the United Kingdom, although wet and windy weather coming into Scotland and Northern Ireland. Temperatures next weekend beginning to lift up in the west perhaps, but perhaps not as warm as it is going to be in the next day or so. Central areas of Europe about normal. The coolest of the weather is still over in the east and the northeast, but it's nowhere near as cold as it is right now, and the temperatures will gradually lift up in the far east and northeast of Europe later in the week. But it's really cold there now. There's going to be some hard overnight frost. One or two places will get some flakes of snow as well, I'm quite sure. And it's an east-west split, but west is warm, the east is cold. That warm weather will gradually, or warm air weather will gradually increase into the east, but it's going to be a slow old process. That's the weather for Europe. Have a good week. Bye for now.